The department will suspend the driving privileges of any person who is convicted of failing to properly restrain a child. Every driver in this state who transports any child or children under the age of 13 years in a motor vehicle which is equipped with safety belts shall have any and all children properly secured in age or size appropriate passenger restraint systems. If a driver is pulled over and cited for a child restraint violation, they will have their license suspended upon conviction by a court. The requirements for this type of suspension include: on the first and second conviction, a notarized affidavit is required from the suspended driver stating that approved age or size appropriate passenger restraint systems were acquired for any and all children transported as required by law. If the notarized affidavit is received within 30 days from the date of the official notice on the first and second offense, the reinstatement fee is not required. On the third or subsequent conviction, the mandatory 180-day suspension must be served, and at the end of the suspension period a notarized affidavit is required from the suspended driver stating that approved age or size appropriate passenger restraint systems were acquired for any and all children transported as required by law. A $60 reinstatement fee in addition to any fee owed for other statutory requirements, required on the first and second suspension if the affidavit is not received within 30 days from the official notice, and it is automatically collected on the third suspension in addition to any fees due for other statutory requirements. Let's take a look at an example. Stephanie had a reputation for being the fun mother and never forcing her kids to do anything they didn't want to do. This included buckling up in her SUV when traveling. She felt forcing them to do something they didn't want to do was restricting their independency and growth. One afternoon, Stephanie was driving her kids to McDonald's to get some lunch as they didn't want to eat anything that they had at home. Stephanie passed a state trooper, who happened to see the children freely moving throughout the vehicle. The trooper turned on his lights and pulled Stephanie over. Stephanie told the kids to sit down and buckle up, however by that time the trooper had confirmed they were not properly restrained. The trooper walked up to the window and Stephanie asked what the problem was. The trooper stated he saw her pass by with her children unrestrained and moving throughout the vehicle. Stephanie tried to argue stating that her children are always buckled up. The trooper stated that he had the footage on his dash cam if she wanted to see it. Stephanie decided not to continue to argue with the trooper. She received a ticket for improper child restraints. Stephanie pays the citation and thinks it is over. However, once the paid ticket is turned into the OMV, an official notice is sent out to Stephanie stating her license is being suspended for a child restraint violation. Stephanie receives the notice and goes to her local OMV. The employee looks up her record and tells her she needs to get a notarized affidavit stating the approved age or size appropriate passenger restraint system has been acquired for any and all children that are transported as required by law. Since this was Stephanie's first conviction and she got the affidavit within 30 days of the official notice, she did not owe a reinstatement fee. If Stephanie had not cleared up the suspension within 30 days of the official notice, she would have owed a $60 reinstatement fee. Had this been her third or subsequent conviction, Stephanie would have had to serve a mandatory 180-day suspension as well as get the notarized affidavit and pay the $60 reinstatement fee. Stephanie decided after going through this process that she would make her kids sit and stay buckled up while she was driving.